When it comes to the concept of criminal justice reform and reforming our system, I've always believed that you cannot think about or even talk about reforming the system without including crime victims. And specifically for me, it was domestic violence crime victims. So often we talk about domestic violence as an outlier, but I just thought that it made the most sense, and it was the best thing that I could do to show people that it's not an outlier, but it's the undercurrent of so many crimes right here in Orange County. It contributes greatly to homicides being connected to domestic violence. You look at the mass shootings and how they're connected to domestic violence. And I just believe that it was an important thing. I mean, let alone talking about our history in this country and sometimes the dark past that we have got to admit that women were considered property at a time. And until we address those issues of how we're treated like property, we cannot talk about women's rights without actually including domestic violence and how we're impacted. It impacted me personally. When I was 18, one of my best friends was shot and killed by her boyfriend, and I didn't understand domestic violence. I just knew that she wasn't there anymore. So for me, I lived to understand it a little bit more because it didn't just start the day that she was shot and killed. There were things that led up to it. I remember working at McDonald's when I was 16, 17 years old, and she came through the drive-thru with him. And I remember the look on her face that at that time, I just thought she was acting different, acting funny, and was being unfriendly to me and had changed. But looking back, I know exactly what that fear looked like, and it was less than a year before she was killed. So as I got older and started looking back, I realized a whole lot more. Doors opened even as I was a state attorney, and things became clearer to me about calls that she would make, our friends, the isolation, the jealousy, the things that she would share, and how her dreams were diminished and ultimately destroyed. When Michelle called me and told me about the recognition, that night I immediately called Dion's dad. And I wanted him to know that this isn't just a platform for me to be celebrated or someone look up to me. This is work to make certain that another dad doesn't have to bury their beloved daughter. A sister doesn't have to look at their sister in a casket. And a friend doesn't have to be without the friend. I can't not say Dion Braddock thinking about domestic violence. That's her name. She's not just a person. She is a memory, and she's worth fighting for. I prefer to focus on the process of justice and how we are working to increase and better the process of justice for victims. So it was important to me to make certain that we were cutting down on the time that we contacted victims when I was state attorney. That understanding that lag time gave their abuser more access to them, gave them time to second guess the truth that they knew that it was time to get out and to get the help. I am more than an ally. I want to take the torch and lead the cause and fight against domestic violence. I am committed to getting guns out of the hands of abusers.